Highly affected in Tanzania due to the global health pandemic, COVID-19, caused by the coronavirus. The sector started to feel the impact of this pandemic even before the pandemic entered the country. This is when bigger source markets of our tourism were hit the most. That is from the late 2019 to early 2020. These markets are European countries, Asian countries, as well as Americas and the Middle East. The majority of these big markets closed their borders, locking their citizens down as a measure to contain the spread of the disease. In addition, majority of airlines also halted their services as a measure to protect the world from the disease, which was rapidly spreading by March 2020. In March 2020, Tanzania announced its first case of COVID-19, and several measures were put in place by the government to fight the spread of the disease in the country. Some of these measures that the government has undertaken were targeting sectors that contribute to the economic growth of the country. It is my role to advise the government accordingly as a minister, so that it can adopt appropriate recovery strategies within the sector in order to elevate and protect it, while the world waits for scientific evidence to come up with vaccination, cure for the disease. The tourism sector is vital to the contribution of the economic growth of this country. For example, in 2017-2018, the study conducted by the World Travel and Tourism Council revealed that about 1,092,500 employment opportunities were created in Tanzania from the tourism sector. It is believed that for every single tourist that visits Tanzania, about 12 employment opportunities are generated in different sectors across the country. From this reality, I thought it was necessary for us in the ministry to call for this meeting with stakeholders in the sector and others from within the government that are responsible to facilitate tourism, to debate and deliberate on specific measures for reopening the tourism sector so we can continue to operate as Destination Tanzania. The main objective of this deliberation is to protect Tanzanians working in the sector as well as tourists visiting Tanzania as we reopen up again for safaris and tourism business. I'm happy to announce that this meeting has been very fruitful and productive. The outcome of the meeting. In this meeting, we have managed to come up with standard operating procedures, among other things, which will be tabled within different levels in the government so that it can be adopted as measures to protect the industry and businesses during this difficult time. It is our hope that these SOPs will provide strategic direction on how to operate tourism activities in the country during and post-COVID-19 period in the country. We came up with these measures because as a country, we're not sure when the world will become safe again, but what we can do is to gather our strengths and resources and open up again the tourism sector while taking great caution to protect ourselves and tourists that we highly value. In addition to the above-mentioned measures, I have directed my ministry to work on the following issues which came up during our 2 days deliberations. To establish a tourism COVID-19 response team, which will, among other things, deal with cross-cutting issues, such as creating a communication strategy to explain to the world safety measures taken towards promotion of Destination Tanzania. The team will also conduct a review of business bylaws within the sector to include insurance policies that will enable a tourist to be evacuated in case of a health emergency. The team will also review prices for Destination Tanzania that will be competitive enough to promote tourism during this time. These elements were highlighted because as a country, we do understand that in order for us to recover from this era, we have to have these two elements: competitive prices as well as safety of our tourists that visit destination Tanzania. Number two, to develop SOPs that will guide tourists from the time they do their initial bookings to their arrival time at the airports, to the hotels, to the tourism destinations, and eventually to departing from the country. These comprehensive SOPs have already been developed, and after being approved with relevant authorities in the government, we will announce them to the world. Number three, to conduct training to all those who are working in tourism and hospitality industry on how to receive and cater for tourists during this COVID-19 pandemic. We must ensure that all necessary precautions are being taken to protect both our staff and tourists as well. Number four, to conduct meetings with our colleagues from the ministry responsible for labor and employment, as well as others, to come up with strategic ways of protecting their jobs during this time. Number five, the ministry should have meetings with all our institutions to come up with ways of protecting tourism businesses in Tanzania. And number six, last but not least, the ministry should establish mechanisms to review and revise the execution of all these matters and review its implementations periodically in accordance to directives of the World Health Organization with regards to COVID-19. And at this point in time, I would wish to express my appreciation to financial institutions that have taken steps that aim to protect businesses. A special word of thanks to CRDB Bank. The CRDB Bank, through their loan unit, should provide a break to our tour operators from servicing their loans for a 3-month period until the industry picks up again. And they've done this already, and it's a big break, especially for our local businesses, as they try to get back to their own feet with their businesses. The break will not only be important to assist them to remain in business, but it has also sustained the industry economically. On behalf of the government, I sincerely thank CRDB Bank for this gesture. I call upon other financial institutions to give consideration for their business loans and come up with such break in order to revive the sector together as Tanzanians. Let me also take this opportunity to thank all of you stakeholders who have participated in this important meeting. We have discussed candidly and deliberated fairly on ways to combat this current situation for the betterment of our country. In a special way, I want to take this opportunity to thank TATO, CAT, and other trade associations who have been present here throughout this meeting. I particularly thank Ms. Nuralisa Karamagi, the CEO of the Hotel Association of Tanzania and the convener of this meeting. I want to thank our host, Mr. Edward Mroso, the CEO of Amani Lodge and Restaurant, for the kind hospitality accorded to us for these 2 days. Participants from other government institutions, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, the Home Affairs, the Department of Immigration, and other technical experts whose participation has enriched this process tremendously. I wish to thank my brother, Honorable Mrisho Gambo, the Regional Commissioner of Arusha, and his entire team for the support and valuable contributions to this process. As you are all aware, Arusha region is the major gateway for some of the best tourist destinations in the world, such as the Serengeti, Ngorongoro, Manyara, Tarangire, and the Mount Kilimanjaro National Parks. All those from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, I congratulate you for the job well done, in addition to thanking you on behalf of the government. There is still a lot of work to be done ahead of us. Let us continue to work together and forge forward in tourism despite the COVID-19 challenge. Thank you all for your participation.